You got the notice?
Yeah, I said I agreed.
Oh, good. Hi, I'm Ransom Wilson. I'm here with the amazing David Shifrin, clarinetist. Um, I am newly the director of orchestral studies at Idyllwild Arts, and we're having our first virtual summer camp. And David is giving a masterclass for us, so I thought it would be good to talk to him about himself, his life, his teaching. Hi, David.
Hi, Ransom. Hi, the amazing Ransom Wilson. Nice to see you.
Well, we've known each other a long, long time. Um, but you know, even though we know each other really well, I'm still confused. You've had careers in so many places that I'm not sure of the order of them. I mean, you were in Hawaii for a while. And just give us a little encapsulation of where you've been, what you've done.
I've lived a long time so far, so it takes a while, and you get to do a lot of things. I went to Interlochen Arts Academy and the Curtis Institute of Music, and while I was still a student, I commuted from New York to play in the American Symphony with Stokowski and the National Orchestral Association with Leon Barzan. So I had a foundation in symphonic work, and I took an opportunity after a year of that, when I graduated from Curtis, to accept a position with the Honolulu Symphony, which was just a dream to live there. And after a couple of years, I realized that there wasn't a lot of room for advancement or freelancing as a classical clarinetist outside of Honolulu. You had to travel thousands of miles. So I reluctantly gave up that position and moved back to the US and played in the Dallas Symphony and the Cleveland Orchestra and the um, Los Angeles Chamber Orchestra, a lot of orchestras. But I kept pursuing the dream of being my own um, administrator, my own boss, and making my own schedule. And I gravitated towards a series of teaching jobs and chamber music positions and pursued a career as a soloist and a chamber musician, working at Chamber Music Northwest and at the Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center, and teaching in several schools, most recently and for the longest period as your colleague at Yale. I've been there for 33 years now. It's blink of an eye.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Well, I mean, it's a distinguished career at the very least. I mean, I've worked with you in so many different capacities. It's you're like part of my family. Um,
Do go back away.
we do. Um, you know, we're about to embark on this festival, summer camp, and I thought it might be interesting to hear what your philosophy of teaching is, if you can, and if you can say it in fewer than an hour, less than an hour.
My philosophy of teaching is to try to bring out the best in each student, help them find their best voice, and help them find a way to make that voice work within the opportunities and the world that surrounds us. Uh, I applaud musicians of all kinds who have a unique voice and do things differently and creatively, and I encourage that. But I also try to work with my students to understand what the opportunities there that might be out there for them in their career pursuits, and to develop the skills necessary to follow those. For example, to learn the orchestral repertoire, learn the excerpts, study the scores, learn the standard repertoire, and be very adventurous with new music and lesser known works for the instrument, and to certainly um, use initiative to form ensembles and to find different ways to play their instrument, to study music, to learn. Not just for me as a teacher of the clarinet, and I'm sure you as a teacher of the flute, we encourage I'm sorry, I just had a visitor. We encourage our students to learn from others. And certainly we're very lucky to be in an environment like Yale, where the students have fantastic opportunities to work in an orchestral setting with Peter Ungen conducting, to work in chamber music with all of our colleagues coaching, to study music history and theory with an excellent faculty, and to be in the middle of an enormous university where they can learn about the context of the music that they're learning. So my philosophy as a teacher is to encourage them to study with and learn from as many sources as they possibly can, and to help guide them in the direction that they're already going. Of course, you and I both teach at the Yale School of Music, which is a graduate school. So we get students who are really quite formed already, and we help give them that extra push, right?
You've had extraordinary success as a teacher as well. I mean, your students are in major orchestras all over the world. Um, what and it's only basically a 2-year program that we teach in, uh, and yet I hear huge transformation in those 2 years in your students. Um, Having said that, they don't all sound the same, and I wonder if how do you feel about them imitating you? Following all the rules, or bucking up against the rules. What do you feel about all that?
Well, if what they're doing is working, I follow the time tested axiom of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. No, but seriously, uh, there are always more than one way to reach the same goal. And if a student is playing really, really well, but always having certain problems with whatever it is, control or legato or certain intonation, inflexibility, or uh, difficulty in some registers and not others, or um, a lack of clarity in articulation. It's a delicate thing because sometimes in order to fix one thing, you have to fix everything. But I teach, as I mentioned, I teach students who we have the great luxury of recruiting for Yale, who are already quite formed and advanced. And I try to work with students that I know I can help, and who I know will respond, and in a, to use a recently bandied term, who are simpatico, who have a similar goal in what they're trying to achieve, and what I'm trying to help them achieve.
Well, I mean you said something I think really really important about the particular program that we teach in, which is that knowing that there's only 2 years, you've got to decide who you can help in that short amount of time. Because I know that I occasionally have people come in to audition that are fantastic players, um, but I don't think that, and they may have certain bad habits or deficiencies in their playing, but I realize from listening to them that I can't help them in the amount of time that I've got, uh, and
And here we are preparing to do um, a master class where each student we're going to be together for a few minutes.
right,
and
and
that's
actually
an entirely different kind of a scenario, isn't it?
Well, t- speaking of that, how I know you've been teaching, since all this started happening on Zoom. How does that work for you?
Has its limitations, but it's really a blessing to be able to do something that way, and we're all learning how to make it better. Um, Getting better internet connections, better microphones, trying to line it up with better audio connections, and it's getting better. And here we are doing this with Idyllwild Arts, with all of us being spread around the world and able to function. It's really quite miraculous, and
It is kind of amazing. I mean, if you think about it, we've had this technology for 25 years or more, and I didn't know anybody that was ever doing a video call. Even though, when you used to, back in the day when you used to see articles about what the future would look like, everybody had a video phone. And yet that never happened until the pandemic forced our hand. And I'm actually kind of enjoying it. I don't know about you, but there's a certain kind of intimacy that you get with a person that you don't get on a phone call.
oh, of course, yeah. And in terms of actually teaching, there's there are methods that you start to develop, and ways that you become analytic in a different way than you are when you're in the same room. Uh, One of the things that I've started doing with all my lessons, that I actually have done with in-person teaching also, is to record, um, re, when I have a lesson at Yale, I'll frequently record some of it and then watch it and listen to it together with the student, and so we can both be analyzing and then come back and play it again. Now I have the student record a section, an excerpt, or a piece that we'll listen to together, and I'll put it up on the screen, and we'll rewind and listen to things several times, and then come back and play it again, so that well, first of all, the quality of sound and the consistency of the video is better when it's just recorded and sent as a Dropbox or a Google Drive than it is on Zoom still, but Zoom's getting better. And it also gives the student a chance to step back and essentially do what they're going to have to do for the rest of their lives, which is be their own teacher.
Right.
So that's a very valuable guidance tool.
Have you tried the clean feed option yet?
I have, but I haven't been able to figure out how to synchronize it with Zoom.
I have. I was trained by Matt Lefevre. I was
Yeah,
trained how to do it, so I've written out instructions and I'm going to send them to you.
would you? That's fantastic. That'd be great.
It's
Although
actually
I
not
looked, I
difficult.
watched all respect to Matthew. I think he's the most amazing recording and editing and musically adept uh, producer that I've worked with, and I just I'm wondering if it's really possible to synchronize the sound and the music. I mean, the sound and the video together. Have you been able to do that?
Pretty much, yeah. It
For
since
both, if you and I were playing a duet, would we be able to play together?
no,
Oh,
no,
that's what's still
yeah, yeah. At least, however, clean feed, which I'm giving to all of the idle teachers, by the way, is allows you to actually hear what your student sounds like.
right. The quality of sound and
Dynamics and full overtones and um, yeah, I've used it for a couple of master classes already, and it works very well. Um, there is a program that a student of mine, former student of mine in California, uses called Jam Kazam that
Okay.
actually allows synchronous playing. You can actually play you can actually play duets, but you have to be relatively close. So he said it works best if you're in the same zip code.
Really?
But
I
it's
thought I thought all these signals went into outer space and came back. I
it,
didn't think that mattered.
and I can't understand. I can't answer those questions. But at least the fact that somebody can do that today, and there's only a 5 millisecond delay, which equates to 5 feet, which is kind of a normal distance that you would play a duet together anyway.
Yeah.
That's amazing, and that means that within a couple of years we'll be able to do that.
I hope it's really, really soon, but not as soon as a vaccine.
Exactly, exactly. Because I'm
Because I know we'd all really rather be
yeah,
together, but it would be great to have both options.
exactly, exactly. Well, um, what have you been doing since you've been in lockdown? What is your routine like? I mean, you're still busy with lots of organizations, so I'm sure it's not just a vacation for you, but how do you fill your days?
I've been so busy. It's crazy. You know, at first I thought, how am I going to fill my day, right? And then, of course, uh, I'm living with my family with three teenagers, so we have lots of things that we fill our day with as a family, and I've been continuing to teach the Yale students, the ones who have already graduated, the ones who are returning in the fall, and the new ones. We've been because everybody's summer plans were canceled, and I thought let's all have something to do together. So we've been meeting once or twice a week, individually and as a group. We've been recording things together individually, and then splicing them together the way you did with your flutes.
Yeah.
We've been experimenting with various things. We did arrangements of Mozart's Magic Flute for clarinet ensemble.
Hmm.
We've been playing choral music together, just soprano, alto, tenor, bass, and dividing up the parts. And it's really instructive, learning ensemble skills in kind of time lapse form. We've been recording individual parts, um, putting them together, hearing what works and what doesn't, and then I've been working individually with each student to how to shape the phrases and with pitch and learning to play in tune with themselves, playing the other part while listening to your own part, then putting it back together again a week later and seeing how much better. It's like a rehearsal in slow motion over weeks. But it really it's helped me focus on things like articulation and the shapes of notes and rhythm. Of course, we're all playing with a headset or earbuds with uh, with the metronomes like a click track. And that's another skill, I think, to try to sound free and make these phrases and be expansive and have different colors and be really strictly on the beat. And there's some repertoire that you really would have a hard time to do that way. But it's been an interesting exercise. I've been really busy with Chamber Music Northwest Festival, as you know. We had to cancel our summer festival, but we are also having a virtual festival, and we've put together a 5-week season of 6 nights a week with 3 different programs, each repeated, from archival video and from musicians recording at home or going into a studio near where they live, socially distant, and recording. So I've had to do a second round of planning for this summer festival. So that'll be over in about 10 days. And then I'm looking at pretty clean slate in August, which It's just fine.
Yeah. Well, you've been at Chamber Music Northwest for over 40 years now, I think.
Yeah, I've been playing there for 43 years and the director for 40 of those years.
Right. Amazing.
And I
Uh,
have another week and a half to go.
well, yeah, you thought you were on easy street already, and then the pandemic made you have to plan a whole new festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm hearing this story a lot. Um, well, as you know, at Idyllwild Arts, you're going to be part of a whole summer festival camp really for high school kids, and not only do we have masterclasses by amazing artists like yourself, they have private lessons. They have classes. Our Yale colleague Astrid Baumgartner is going to teach a class called the 21st Century Musician, and of course she's a genius at helping young people draw together all the various elements of what a career looks like. So in some ways, I think that may be our most important class coming up. But I'm so honored that you're going to be part of it, and thank you so much for taking the time this morning to talk to me. And going to try to get our interview out to as many people as I can, because there are still openings, even at this late date, for students, and they've dropped the price so low that they're practically giving it away. So if you're between 13 and 18 and you're seeing this, come to Idyllwild Arts this summer and have the pleasure of working with David Shifrin.
May I just add one thing to that? I hope my daughter won't mind my saying this, but she's been part of the summer camp in the jazz program, and she's almost done with the 2 week program in jazz, and she's gotten a tremendous amount out of it. It's really a wonderful program in it, and the Zoom is working, and the different classes in theory and learning notation on Sibelius are tremendously beneficial. So I applaud you for what you're doing at Idyllwild.
We're trying. It's a hard summer, but we're trying. Well, thank you again for being so forthcoming with all your ideas, and very inspiring for me to hear, even though we've known each other a long time. So thanks, and I will see you online next week.
See you soon.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you so much. Bye.